Good morning and thank you so much for joining. Today is we covering what's new in version 22. Happy New Year, everybody, and let's get started. My name is Robert Gabriel. I'll be your instructor today, and this is my contact information. Disclaimer: anything you learn in this seminar, microarts cannot be held responsible for any loss of data or revenue. Today we're going to talk about my favorite 3 features in Medisoft 22, and we're going to cover other 1 feature from 21, which is the write-off. Then we're going to open the floor for Q&A. Let's get started. So the first feature that we're about to go over is writing off balances. Now, in the old days, we had this small balance write-off, which is under activity here. Unfortunately, this feature doesn't really work most of the time, and it's only patient responsibility. So there's a new feature now in Medisoft, which is it writes off any positive or negative balances. You get to pick the date range, and you get to pick which code you wanted to adjust it for. So to do that is you need to go under Tools. And this particular write-off, it doesn't matter if it's patient responsibility or insurance responsibility. So if I do cutoff date, I'm just going to put 1/1/2017. And over here is the case billing code, just in case if you have certain cases that you want to write off, maybe people in arbitration or maybe people in collection. So that's we can do that, but I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to do it here. So the transaction balance not to exceed. So if I only want to write $10 and below, then you put here whatever the amount that you want. If you want to write anything that's older than that amount, just put a high number here. Then if I want to write anything that's negative, which means a credit balance, you put a negative amount here. And also if you want to write it regardless of how much it is, you just put it here. Then you have two things here to do is the adjustment code. Okay, so maybe this is I'm going to do a bad debts adjustment. So you have 2 codes to choose here. One when it's negative, so this is if there's a credit adjustment, and one when it's positive. For now, I'm going to just use adjustment wrong entry. And if it's a write-off, if it's a positive, I want to call it a small balance write-off, even that really this amount is not a small balance write-off anymore. So even that this number is not really a small balance write-off because I have a big amount here. Now I'm going to show you in a minute how to add this code, because when you add the credit reversal code, you need to be done in a special way. You can override that message here. If I got everything right here, if I hit refresh, so this just tells me it's going to show me all the ones that's going to get written off. Now just be careful here. Let's say J here has 3 charges, and let's say if you only want to write off anything lower than $10, but if Jeff has $10, $10, okay, they might all add up to more than $10, but when that amount that you choose here, it's by line item. It's not the patient total balance. So this is the transaction. So it's writing on a transaction level, not on the patient level. If I'm happy with everything I see here, if I hit write off, then it's going to continue. Now make sure you back up before you do this. So if you did not back up, you need to stop and back up here. Or I can continue with the write off and this now write it off. Now if I want to get a list of everything I've done, if I go on the report and day sheet and patient day sheet, if I run it for today's date, then I get to see all the write-off that I did with whatever code I want. Okay, then at the last page, I have a total here for everything I wrote off. Now, if I would have ran my AR before and after, then I'm gonna, let me do just a primary insurance. You're going to see a lot less aging report if you do this, a much lower aging report here than if you would have done before. I'm gonna restore now and just show you what would it look like. before. So if something goes wrong, you can restore. I just want to reverse what I did, so I'm going to restore. I'm going to restore the backup. Now, very important that somebody's taking care of your backup today. Now, if you are in Medisoft Cloud, which is the latest and greatest thing we have, then you don't have to worry about backups because we're backing it up for you. It's in the cloud. You don't have to worry about support. You don't have to worry about upgrades. So if you're not aware of the Medisoft Cloud, please call us about it. It's great. So now if I would have run my aging report before I would have ran my adjustment, I'm going to see that my aging is going to be kind of different from when I wrote it off. When I wrote it off, all of this went off because the old transaction. The other thing I want to show you is adding those reversal code or reversal credit. So if you go under list and under procedure CPT code, so if you create a new code, and I'm going to call it credit adjustment, and now this need to be an adjustment type. And over here, you need to turn this off because an adjustment is usually negative. But if I turn this off, it means a positive. So what does that mean? If I have a patient balance is negative $100, if I use this credit adjustment, it's going to add $100, is going to balance it to zero. So to do that, now if I redo my write-off again, if I go under tools and services and write-off utility, I'm going to see under my credit, I see here that this is the one I just did now. And let me just repeat this again. So if I use this one and negative, so if I want to write off everything, and for this here, I can choose small balance write-off or bad debt. Now, bad debt is not available here. Why this one only shows 2 and this one? Because all of those are credit adjustments. Those ones are regular adjustments. So it depends how you check that box on or off. It's going to show in a proper box. So you don't want to mix the two. Now, if I hit refresh, of course, I didn't have a cutoff date. So if I put 1/1/2017, and if I do refresh again, so now this is all the stuff that I saw before. And if I would have write it off, I would have repeat my adjustment. Now, if you're doing this in a real database that you've been using Medisoft for 10, 15 years, this might take a longer time. So it might take a couple hours. It's only taking a few seconds for me. So you want to do this after a good backup, and you want to do this after like the day is over or before everybody starts, and give yourself a couple hours and don't kill it in the middle of working, even if you think that it's not responding anymore. Now, why this is such a great tools that I liking is, number one is we see over and over again people inherits a mess from another biller. People inherit a mess from a practice. So if you're a billing service and you add on a new practice, you might find an accounting mess. Or vice versa, sometimes a practice will take a mess from a billing service, and that shouldn't happen, but unfortunately I've seen everything. Or somebody was sleeping at the wheel for a few years and they get replaced, or they leave and somebody takes over and they find out that the person was not receiving any payment or not adjusting anything or not doing their work. So this is a great utility because you can write off for whatever length of time you want, for whatever amount you want, regardless if it's patient balance or insurance balance. What's new in Medisoft version 22? Just in case if you don't know what version you're using and you want to find out, one of the easiest way is to click on Help and About. And this feature usually work with any software that has the Help button, and you could do Help About. Doesn't matter what software, it usually tell you what version. And over here is we have version 22. So let's go over what's the new exciting items on version 22. In any of the Medisoft versions, there will be a new in this version, and this is just gives you a nice layout and a description of all the new features. So you can print this or you can just look at it on the screen. So we're going to cover most of this. One of my favorite features is the AR tracker. So this is a brand new feature that they revamped the old AR tracker. I can filter for what I'm looking for. So I can be looking for, so let's talk about in most practices, they usually print an aging report, and I see in most practices aging report that is over 500 pages, and it's very cumbersome, and sometimes they don't want to cover certain days or certain years because they inherited a mess from a billing company, or the billing company inherited a mess from a practice. So this is the electronic version. Instead of printing a report, this is a smart drill down system. Over here, I can pick to get an aging either for the insurance or the patient. If it's for the insurance, I get to pick between primary, secondary, or tertiary. I can start the level by provider. So I have selection here. I can pick the date range that I'm looking for. I can pick an insurance company or a class. I can pick a particular patient or a guarantor. So there's so many different selections here. But if you see yourself that you're tweaking this a lot, you can actually give it a name and save it. So this way you can recall that query, so it always remember how you want it to always search. If I leave everything blank, other than just primary here and insurance here, it's going to just apply this for me. And in this practice, I only have one provider. So I have provider John Smith, and the provider John Smith I have here, I can do this in two different ways. I can either drill down. Now watch those buttons here. So right now I'm on all providers. If you have more providers, you will see a list of all your providers here. When you drill down, you see that you move the all insurance button. I could have also done it just like that. And doesn't matter if you click on this or you double click on that, I can sort here by aging amount. Maybe this is my highest aging. I want to look at my Ameri group. And this is just shows me all the patient with the Ameri group. Notice here that insurance ME group here is showing all the patient. Then if I drill down on Christopher, and over here I have the chart number for Christopher. I have the claim number. I have the date of service. And I can actually do more features either on top or the bottom. So on top, each one of those lines changes the claim number at the bottom. So this here, this charge here happened on 11/20/2015. This one here happened at the same day but different claim number. This one has two charges. So now if you right click your mouse, there's a lot of options here. One of the options is I can add an AR note to the claim. So I can just type, I can add something like that. Now you notice that note here. So that created a note for me. I can also do an AR task. The aging, I can assign a task, or I can remove a task. Assigning a task, maybe I want to delegate this to another person, and I want them to rebuild this claim and assign it to who, and hit assign, and pick the due date. I can assign this a task. I can resend claim, assign it to a person, and change the date and hit assign. You can assign to the claim or to the patient. If I assign it to the claim, I get to choose claim related AR stat. If I assign it to the patient, I can have a patient say that they want a collection. Or whenever you assign an AR task to a patient, it will follow that patient. For example, if I schedule this patient, so let me go to schedule. So Christopher schedule here, and notice that there's an AR status collection. Now, how to add those AR status or AR task? They are located in the list view here. And if you go to list, then you have here your AR status code, and you can just add or edit here. They were not consistent where F8 or right click and insert new, it doesn't work. They look like they missed it. So it's not consistent with most of the fields in Medisoft. Where, for example, in Medisoft, always when you want to add something new, you can do here, you can do F8 or new. When the AR listed, that doesn't work that way. So if I was assigning an AR status and I want to add one, the F8 or right click does not work. For example, over here, let's say normally you'll right click here and do new, but that feature does not work with the new features in 22. So this is the AR status. I also can add the AR task. So when you're doing an AR task, you get to pick. You get to pick if it's patient related. So when you do an AR status, you get to pick between if it's a claim related, statement related, or patient related. But if you are adding an AR task, that is just something that for you to work. Now they also added permission in the grid. So there's a new section on AR task and AR tracker and AR status. So those are all new security features that you can tweak if you don't want somebody to have access to the AR task or track. Also, when the beauty about using the AR tracker is it's going to drill down to the claim. So if you have a claim, you have a new tab here that says the AR management, and the AR management, it's giving you the note that I added when I was assigning or updating the status. So this way it's easy for somebody to just look at a claim and filter for claim ranges and find out what happened with them. And you have the history here. Just be careful. If you ever delete that claim for whatever reason, that you will lose the history of that. So you want to be careful of that. You never want to delete claims. You always want to notice here when you click list only. This here is not supposed to show you if it's done. So if a claim was done after it's paid, it will disappear from the list. If you turn this off, then that will show you all the done claims. So I see a lot more claims here than if I would have excluded done, which is most people want to exclude the done. They don't want to see, but never clean up this list thinking that you're doing a spring cleanup or anything like that. Now I'm going to open a different practice that has more than one provider, just show you the different. So if I open a practice here, I'm going to open this practice right there. And I don't have security on this practice, so I'm not going to be able to assign a task to a person. But let me just show you what I'm trying to show you here. And over here is, if I run this filter here, now it shows me multiple provider, and I can narrow down, I can sort. And notice here that also give you the unbilled one. So if you haven't billed something, it will show you a bucket for the unbilled. I can sort by the AR total, and I can just drill down just like that. Okay, so if I would assign a task here, I don't see anything here because I didn't add any codes in this particular practice. Any other practice I did add. And over here, if I right click, I can edit the transaction, and editing the transaction just that takes you to the transaction data entry screen. If I assign an AR task, I don't see code, but I also don't see an assigned person because I don't have security in this practice. Another great feature in version 22 is adding CPT codes. So especially in 2018, there's a lot of CPT code that were added, and version 22 makes it simpler for you. So to do that, there's two ways of doing it. I can actually get into the procedure code list from here. And if I hit new, I would see a link here say find CPT. So I can actually search for the CPT that I want, depending on what specialty you're doing for. Let's say if you're doing a pathology and you're an analysis, and I can take a code here by just double click on it. I was able to add this, then just hit save, and he just added this. Another way of doing it is adding multiple codes at the same time. And just be careful, you just have to add the price. So if you don't have a price, you need to go here and you just need to put the price. Another way of adding codes is adding them in bulk. So if I do add CPT code, I get to choose, I get to search, or I get to choose a category. So let's say I'm doing evaluation management and I want to add the whole group. So if I do this and I hit OK, I just added this whole group all in one shot. So that again, there's no prices. You need to go back and add those prices. And it will ignore any duplicates. So if you already have a 99212, it's not going to duplicate it. It will override it. So this is a great feature, especially in 2018, as many CPT codes were added to us. Do that from a real database. So I don't have a real database here, so I'm going to emulate it. I'll walk you through it. So to do that is my favorite way of doing it. If you're using the scheduler, so if you're using the scheduler, if you are in the single view, if you're using the scheduler, if you're in the single view, you're going to see this question mark here. You can switch to single view from this is multi-view or this is single view. So if you a single view, you see that question mark, yellow question mark. So when you program your system to check for people who are coming into your practice. So let's say today is Wednesday and I have people coming tomorrow. So one day or 2 days before, you can have the system go and check out every person you have on your calendar. You have to have them on your calendar. And if you have that, if this patient is checked eligibility, you will see green check here. If this patient didn't check eligibility, it will be a red X. So this is extremely important. Now, we started a new year, but there is a big challenge happening in the industry today where a commercial insurance company like United, they're becoming very aggressive. And what they've been doing, they've been lobbying patients to switch their Medicare. Now, if you don't have eligibility verification, or you're not checking eligibility, the patient might never told you that they changed from regular Medicare to United Medicare, and some people they hold on their billing, and you'll be out for bad surprise that you lost of timely filing because United doesn't honor the 1 year like regular Medicare does. So of course I would love to see practices discouraging their patient from going to commercial Medicare like United, and I also I will encourage you that you should sign up for eligibility verification because that can be a huge time saving. Now, if this patient was linked to regular Medicare and they changed to HMO Medicare, it's going to fail. It's going to say that no coverage. Now, if you want to do it manually, you can right-click here and you can do eligibility or do F10. And this, of course, is not going to go through because it's not a real practice. So you click verify, and it will go out, and depending on who's the payer, it's going to come back with different messages. So for example, it might tell you how much deductible it is, or might tell you how much deductible they met, or it might tell you what's their copay. So depending on what payer, it will give you different information here. It will look like this kind of format. And okay. The next question is what happens if I don't use office hours? So if you don't use office hours, you can do the same thing from the case itself. So if I go to the same patient and I'm going to right click here and do edit case, you're going to notice this button here where it says eligibility. This is the exact same thing and the exact same information. But you have to do this one by one because you don't have patient on the schedule. Now, some people, they have walk-in patient, they still put it on the schedule, but if you don't have a need for that, you want to do it one by one, you can do it just like I did it here. Also, another new feature that we have is online appointment. Now, this website is, I have a designer that makes this website. If you have a need for a website like this is a really modern, cool website. And it's only $1,500 to get a website like that. So the one things that you can do with a modern website is you can make an online appointment, where this is linked to your Medisoft. It can let you see what available appointment, and you can pick and choose what kind of appointment do you want it to book, which is a feature in version 21 and 22. Also, you can do an online payment where you can link it to your bill flash, and you can have patient pay online for your appointment. And most important, with social media now, you can just link it to your social media, and you can have it like that. So this is a cool, modern, nice design that you can have. Link it to your patient portal, so you can just have the patient log into the portal like that. They put username and password, and they log into the portal. That's a really nice way of integrating your EHR with your website, and have your patient communicate with you in a secure way. So if you need something like that, please let me know. Now let's open the floor for Q&A. I have a few questions were asked online here, so let me get through them. So from Jackie, Jackie's asking, can you adjust from this new filter? So we're talking about the AR tool, and the answer is no, you don't adjust from the AR tool. So if you are in the AR tool, the question is, can you adjust from this filter? And now, no, that this question, you need to see the part about the write-off utility. The next question is also from Jackie. What about if you are in the cloud? Do you still need to back up manually? No, if you're in the cloud, we back you up once a day. Now, if you have a busy practice and you have mission critical things that happening all the time, we can actually back you up as frequent as 1 time per hour. And the backup that we do in the cloud, you don't need to get anybody out. So it happens in the background, which is, if you are doing your own backups, people have to get out. So many times that people are doing backups where other people were left in the system, they never logged out, they don't think that office hours is a part of Medisoft, and the backup, it doesn't work, and we get unbelievable amount of people. Like, when I say unbelievable, is maybe once a week I get somebody say, I thought a backup was happening and it was not happening, or I thought so and so was doing my backup and it was not happening. So please don't fall into that. The next question is, can you go over eligibility feature? Yes. Now, the next question is, if I'm using version 19, do I have to upgrade to do eligibility verification? No. So you can have this question is from Claudette West, and no, you don't have to upgrade if you don't want to. If we have no more questions, I want to thank you so much for participating. I want to thank you for your business. Here's my contact information. If you think of something, give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'm going to make this recording available. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.